Hey everyone, I'm Avalon. This is episode 2 of how to live stream using OBS. In this episode, I will cover how to add a face cam to your overlay and how to add your gameplay to the overlay. There are different ways for doing that. This tutorial works for Mac and Windows. I live stream regularly in high quality with more than 8,000 subscribers, and it may be quite an effort to find out what the right settings for your live stream are. And a lot of people kept asking me, how do you live stream? And that's why I started this series. In episode 1, I explained the basic OBS settings. If you missed episode 1, make sure to also watch episode 1 of this series. And also make sure to subscribe to my channel for future episodes. All links in this video will also be in the video description below the window. So before we getting started, there is a question I need to answer from last video. You may have noticed that on Windows there is two versions. There's a 32-bit version and a 64-bit version. So I'll show you where you find those. If you go to your program installation folder into the OBS Studio folder, you will have a folder binaries there, and it has a 32-bit version and a 64-bit version in there. I use the 64-bit version, and I have the experience that sometimes when you upgrade OBS, it will flip back to the 32-bit version. And I had pretty bad experience with the 32-bit version. So make sure that you're always using the 64-bit version if you're on a 64-bit PC operating system. So use this version. Maybe create a link on your screen directing to this version if you see that you're using a wrong version. Now, if you don't know what version you're currently using, check out the top left area of your OBS window. If it says 64-bit Windows, you're on the 64-bit version and you're fine. If it doesn't say anything of 32-bit version, then you're on the 32-bit version. Now what you see here is basically the OBS as we left it in part 1 of this series. It basically contains just a hello world text displayed at the moment, and we want to add a face cam to this overlay right now. So how do we do that? We click the plus sign, and there we select video capture device because your facecam is a video capture device. And in this window you will have existing video capture devices, usually for example the facecam after we added it. You will see that in a moment. Or you have a possibility to create a new video capture device. Why does it have add existing? You don't want to create a new video capture device all the time. Basically, you want to reuse the existing element of your overlay in different scenes. Once you added the face cam, you will be able to use it in all of your scenes. That's basically the reason why you can reuse existing video elements. So here we want to create a new one, and I'm gonna name it FaceCam. So after I enter the name, I get into this window. Here I can select from the video devices that OBS recognizes on my computer, and one of them is the FaceCam. I click on this FaceCam and immediately you will see the picture taken by that FaceCam at the moment. It looks a bit strange because it's recording me from the side. It's on my laptop that I'm showing you the OBS right now. You also have presets for your facecam to select from. For this tutorial, I will leave it on the highest resolution. That's typically also what I'm using on my overlays. Sometimes I may reduce it on the overlay to exactly this 720p resolution. That is the max resolution of the facecam here. But if I specifically want to do facecam recordings, I may also put it a little bit higher than this. And now the facecam is already added to the overlay. You can shift it around on the overlay to a place where you want it to be. You can resize it like this. That's basically how you add the facecam to the overlay. And this is how it would look on my Windows PC. You see I also added a face cam here. It's another one than the one on my Mac. It's a Logitech face cam and we need to set it up properly. I always leave deactivate when not showing unchecked. Here the resolution would just be the default resolution. What I would usually switch this to custom, and then the image will disappear for you guys for a moment. I will switch the resolution either to maximum, which would be like this if I only do a face cam recording, or I would switch it to 720p if it's a face cam within a game scene. The frame rate can match the output frame rate. I would use that setting usually because if I'm doing a 30 frames per second it will be correct, and if I'm doing 60 frames my facecam cannot handle that anyway. The video format, I don't change these things basically, so just go with the facecam as it is here. One important parameter here, and that's specific for this Logitech camera, is where the output should go. Don't worry about the output capture mode if you're recording from a separate microphone. If you use a facecam microphone, you have to switch this one on to make sure your audio is recorded. But I will switch the facecam audio off anyway. This would be switched on, and like this, the facecam audio is not recorded at all. That's it for the facecam. You may notice that I also have a display capture here. We'll get to display captures later on in this. For now, I just need it because I need OBS to record this tutorial video. Now, once you have your facecam on the screen like that, you can of course also go there and just move the picture around on the screen. Like this. And you can also resize the picture by clicking the corner here. Now, how to get gameplay or other stuff on your OBS overlay? There are two very basic concepts to that you need to know, and those are screen capture and window capture. And I'm gonna show you those two next. So the very first option I want to show you is screen capture, and how you do that. I have started a sample game here on my other display. You can't see that because I'm recording my display number 1 at the moment. So you can't see display 0 with another game. If you have only one display, it will just show you that display. So how you do that is you press the plus sign here and select display capture. You give it a name like game, and you see here it starts immediately capturing my display. So you can see here that the display capture I just created, game, is on top of this list, and it displays the game full screen here on the OBS. And if I want to see the facecam again, I have to shift orders here, like put the game one down, like this. So if I go back to the settings quickly, you can see it has now selected display 0. I could also switch it to display 1, of course. So that is how you would capture the game, and if the game is full screen, then it would just show you the game full screen. And you can also add filters, like a crop filter here. And how I do that, I just press this. I usually leave it on crop. Then you can change your borders to something like, let's do it 100, 200. Just as an example, this is how it would work. And you can crop your image the way you like it to have it on your overlay. And this is how it would look right now. Now, the second way to capture the content of your gameplay is window capture. As opposed to screen capture, it will not capture the whole screen, it will only capture the contents of a specific window. To do that, just click the plus sign and select window capture. Give it a name. Like game. And it will automatically select the window you had clicked last. And of course you could change your selection here in this window, but we will leave it on this game. There is nothing else. You can if you don't want a cursor to be displayed, you can basically deselect the cursor here and your capture will not display the cursor. The same actually also for display capture and window capture is the same thing. So I'm gonna leave the cursor on the window for now and just press OK. And then you see that the window contents are nicely captured into our OBS. And here's a nice little trick you may want to know. By pressing the Alt key and selecting one of the corners, you're actually able to crop this image here pretty easily to the contents you like. Same thing basically with display capture. And that's how easy it is to add contents to your overlay using window capture. The same actually also works for browser contents or any other stuff that you have in a window on your PC or on your Mac. Now, if you're on a Windows PC, you may have a lot of lag when you try to screen capture or window capture your gameplay because the gameplay is quite resource intensive. There is another option to capture your gameplay, and that is called Game Capture. And if your game supports this, because it goes into the interface of the game, your game needs to support this. But if it does, that's the preferable way to capture your gameplay. It will be way faster. And let me show you how this works. So again, you're gonna click the plus sign, but this time you're gonna select Game Capture. And you just give it a name like, yeah, I usually do it like this, Game Capture, something like that. Press OK. This option here, capture any full screen application, doesn't work for me because I'm using two screens, so I have to switch it off. And then I select the game, and in this case, it's Dark Souls 3. That's the name of the game. And once I select it, it will be immediately shown. The rest of these settings I usually don't change. And this is how it looks when you get back to your OBS. Your game will be full screen automatically. And of course you can resize it again the way you like to have it. So it does look a bit strange on my screen. That's because I have the display capture to record this video. Usually you wouldn't see those repetitions here. That's because of the screen capture I'm using to record this video. And that's it on how to record your gameplay on Windows. Those are the basic 3 tools you need to capture your gameplay. So let me repeat once again. It's window capture for window applications. It's screen capture to capture your full screen, and it's game capture for games that support that feature. Now the next thing is, if your content like your game is not on your screen, but for example on your iPad or any other mobile device, and you have to get it to your screen somehow, and there are different options to do that. So on your Mac, for example, you can connect your device directly to a computer with a USB cable and then use QuickTime Player to get it into a window. Another option would be Reflector or Air Server to get your device onto the display and basically then do a display or a screen capture on your device. And the third option, and that's basically the one I use, it's a little bit more expensive, but for me it works best, is using an Elgato. So that's an external hardware device, and the support for this is excellent on Windows and OBS. It's a little bit more difficult to achieve on a Mac. So let me quickly show you how to do this. So what I'm gonna do here is also press the plus sign, and there is a special option for this. It's a video capture device. The Elgato is a video capture device, so I can select video capture device. It's a new one, so I just call it Elgato. And it will open this window here, and there is usually by default it would select the webcam, but you can see it here, there is also the Elgato available here. And when I select the Elgato, it will actually automatically start capturing the mobile device that is connected to my Elgato. So here you can configure video, you can configure stuff in there. That probably is part of a separate tutorial. For the resolution, you can select custom, and then you can enter settings on how big you want the capture to be. So you can, for example, what I'm using here typically is this 1920 1080p. I'll make it match the output FPS. That means if my OBS is set to 30 frames per second, the output will also be 30 frames per second. And if I switch it to 60 frames per second, it will also be 60 frames per second. And that's basically it. There is one more option here specific to the Elgato, but this is not supposed to be an Elgato tutorial, just showing you how to connect it. There is the capture audio only here. This option would basically just record the audio, but you would not be able to hear it. If you also want to be able to hear it, you would usually output it to your default device, desktop audio, and then you would record desktop audio containing music and everything. And you would also be able to hear it. So you press OK. And then you can see that it's nicely captured there. The Elgato, again, you can resize it. And that actually works best for me. It would not use network bandwidth to send the image to my PC. It's done via cable. And the compression and all that calculations are done by the Elgato. So this is a pretty fast way for my OBS to access the video from my mobile device. There is usually no lag by capturing it with Elgato. And the other options are riskier, so that's why I use this one here. Now let me first show you how to use Reflector. I'm gonna do that on my Mac. So let's start the Reflector application. And there you connect it to your screen, and then you will see Reflector on the screen. You will see my iPad here on the screen, and those are the settings that I'm gonna use on the Reflector. It's 720p, that's what I use. You can also try to switch it to 1080p, but I warn you, the higher the resolution is, the more trouble you can have with lag. Because you will need to capture that video from the screen, and you may have a lot of lag by doing that. So don't make it too big. You may feel like making a really huge picture of your device screen. I would really not recommend doing that. Make it basically as small that it fits exactly your overlay size, and you don't have to rescale a lot on your overlay. If you have to downscale on the overlay, be aware that your OBS will have to calculate a lot to make it fit your overlay. So the less calculation, the better, because that may lead to lag. And that's why I usually use 720p here for my iPad on Reflector. And all the other settings you can basically leave the way they are. Don't change them. Just change the connection here on Reflector. So you may not use Reflector on your PC, you may use AirSurf or something similar. Basically, you just need a way to get your screen from the device to your PC, and then you're gonna add it to your screen with a window capture like I've shown you before. So just click plus, add a window capture. We call it iPad. And we select the Reflector window. And there you go. And it's on your overlay. That's how to get your device screen on the overlay using Reflector. Of course, you can also use the Alt trick again here to crop your overlay the way you like. And here I would stretch it a little bit to fit better. As I said, an upscale is okay, but if it's really huge on your screen and you have to downscale a lot, you may reconsider the size of the original Reflector window. I usually had pretty good quality with Reflector streaming. I used that for quite a while. The first method you usually start with when you use an iOS device is connecting it with a cable. And that's the next method I'm gonna show you. Now let me warn you, I had quite a lot of lag with this method, and also the physical connection using cable and the QuickTime application, that I had some trouble with that. But that may be my settings. But anyway, I'm gonna show you how to connect your iOS device using QuickTime Player. Basically, you just hit New Video Recording in the menu. Make sure that you select your device as a camera and you select your device as a microphone to make sure you also have the sound on your display. And that's basically it. And from there on, once you have your gaming device on the screen using QuickTime Player, you can just add it to the OBS the same way we did before with the reflector. Just click plus, choose window capture, give it a name, like here we call it iPad cable, like here we just call it iPad cable, and select QuickTime Player Video Recording. And there you go, and it's on the screen using QuickTime Player. So in this episode we covered 3 methods of how to capture your screen. The first was display capture, then we did window capture to capture the contents of a specific window, and then we did the game capture to capture contents of a game that you have on your screen directly into OBS. And then the second thing is how to get your gaming content from an external device on your screen, and we covered ways. There are a lot more ways to do that depending on what device you're using. Unfortunately, I cannot show you how to do it with an Android device. I hope you enjoyed this episode of live streaming using OBS. If you did, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified when new episodes are available. Please also leave a like on this video or leave a comment if you have recommendations or suggestions for future episodes, or if you have questions. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Stay awesome! This one max speed! Yeehaw! Awesome surf, another one like that. Come on, full speed. Yes! Yambarang! There you go, awesome.